Hey folks, alright, I think this is video 5. So in the last question, or the last video I should say, we talked about the answer to question 1 and I explained it. As I was waiting for the last video to upload, I looked up myself online, because I was curious, artificial selection of cows. So cows, like what are we doing to artificially select for cows, right? I remember the example I gave you, it was a fake example, right? The cows were breeding the strong male and the strong female, right? That was the example I gave that was made up. Well, this is a real example. So we are breeding cows based off of milk yield. So we figured out the cow that is able to produce the most milk, and we're breeding that cow so that their offspring can produce even more milk, right? It says that this means that increasing the milk yield in cows can bring about negative side effects, such as declining fertility, harder for them to have babies, declining longevity, them dying earlier, and health problems. So that's something to think about, too. Like, if we are artificially selecting animals, it could have some negative impacts to the animals and their health. Okay, so I want to get back here to the article. Article. Come on, you can do it. Upload. Wait, nope, that's my video shoot. Man, running out of... There we go. Article. Okay, here we go. So, we talked about artificial selection. In recent years, creating genetically modified crops, and now genetically modifying animals, so crops means like fruits and vegetables. Animals, right? We're talking cows, we're talking salmon. So creating genetically modified crops and now genetically modified animals has become an alternative to artificial selection. All right, here we go. So it says in recent years, creating genetically modified crops and now genetically modified animals has become an alternative to artificial selection. Going to my questions here. What could artificial selection, why could I can't speak, guys. Why could artificial selection be a good thing when it comes to the food that we eat? I want to hear what you think about this one. So far I've given you 3 examples. 2 of them were fake. 1 of them was real, right? So I gave you the example of strong cow breeding with strong cow and it producing a strong cow which maybe tastes better. The real example was breeding cows based off of their milk production, so we're getting more milk from the cow. So I'm asking you why you think this could be a good thing. The next question says, what has replaced artificial selection since the 1990s? Well, we used to do a lot of artificial selection for almost everything. And now we're using genetically modified organisms, right? So that's your answer for question 3. Genetically modified organisms, like the salmon in the article. So, we've talked about 2 things so far, guys. We've talked about genetically modifying organisms. That means you're changing the genes. Again, organic versus not organic. We're going in and actually changing the genome. And then artificial selection, we're not changing the genes. We're just breeding them in certain ways to produce like better, more desirable traits. So what has replaced artificial selection? The breeding. It's genetically modifying things. Now we're starting to figure out the genes of all of these animals and we're starting to genetically modify them. Okay, so you should know 2 things at this point. Genetically modified means humans literally going in and changing, taking out genes or putting in genes, right? Which is crazy. But they look the same. They end up looking the same. And then artificial selection just involves breeding. So we're breeding animals in a certain way to produce certain better traits for whatever reasons. All right, I'm signing off. We've gone over questions 1, 2, 3. Peace!